If you picked up the phone and it was a police officer on the other end of the line and that police officer was telling you to do certain things, would you do them? Would you hang up? Your phone could be traced, but would you hang up? Would you tell that police officer to, well, take a hike? Compliance deals with this and other concerns of authority and how we as human beings have relationships to authority in an authoritarian world. Compliance is based on a true story, and with its backbone, the Milgram experiments of the 1960s and the Stanford Prison experiment of the 1970s, Compliance takes us down a very eerie road about what we as human beings will do when confronted with the idea of authority. A police officer calls up a suburban Chickwich fast food restaurant in Ohio and says to the manager, played by Ann Dowd, that an employee at the restaurant, Becky, played by Dreamer Walker, has stolen some money from the customer's purse at the restaurant, and that the Officer Daniels, played by Pat Healy, has surveillance video to prove it. He also has the regional manager on the line with him as well. Sandra doesn't think to question any of this. Because it's been a very stressful Friday at this restaurant, she proceeds to listen carefully and has already made judgments about Becky's guilt, even though Becky is someone she's known as a very trustworthy and loyal employee at Chickwich. She is requested by Officer Daniels to do things, to first search Becky's purse, and then search Becky herself, and then things get a lot worse than that even. It's very uncomfortable viewing. And it's a very tastefully rendered film, if you can believe that. Craig Zobel, the director, does a fine job in balancing this film and giving us just the right amount of time to look and then not look at what's happening. Becky is someone who herself has a lot of tension with her relationship with Sandra, and we see that even before Officer Daniels comes into play in this film. What this film really drives hard at is what we would do in situations like this. It's easy for us to remove ourselves, I guess, as an audience, because we have a lot of information about these characters before they do. But the experience of Compliance is not one to easily remove oneself from. It's a great Rorschach test. It's a fine experiment, a creepy experiment, a disturbing experiment, an unsettling one to watch. Many walk out. And we are faced with that possibility. Do we walk out on Becky and leave her to deal with the employees that really don't affirmatively step in to stop what happens to her? Or do we stay behind and watch this film, this 90-minute ordeal, and become complicit in that way as well with what's happening to Becky as a voyeuristic audience? Mr. Zobel frames this film so very cleverly. He's got great restraint. He is not exploitive at all at any moment of the film. That's what makes it truly authentic. And so did the great performances by Dreamer Walker and Dowd in particular as Sandra. I think Miss Dowd deserves an Oscar for this role. And Pat Healy, who's also very disturbing as Officer Daniels. Heather McIntosh's score is wonderful, fits perfectly with this film. Adam Stone's cinematography is also excellent. Jane Rizzo's editing is also commendable. Compliance is an experience that's hardly an uplifting one, but it's an instructive one that tells us about human behavior and asks us, what would we do in the situation if we were in the shoes that these characters are in? Compliance talks about authority and our relationship with it, and deals very earnestly with these very troubling and thought-provoking questions. And you'll want to talk about this film with people after it's finished. It will stay with you for a long time to come. I think it's the best film of 2012. I'm Omar Moore for the Popcorn